Hi everyone, and welcome to the monthly update for December of 2020. There have been a lot of changes to the Glowing Stripes project and everything around it, so let's directly get into it. Starting with the LED development kit that I built. So I wanted to have something where I can easily on the go work on the Glowing Stripes project, both on the software and hardware, and directly see the LEDs glowing. And so I just built a quick, simple external battery connected to both an ESP32 and a Raspberry Pi Zero. So for all future LED projects, I have something to work with on the go. I also continued working on the LED animation customizer, so the front end that you open on your web browser to change animations, customize them with colors you choose, the duration you choose, and a lot of other things. And then, as you might remember, I was developing new 3D prints for the connectors for the LED strips, as well as the case and the stand. Well, I got them printed and I had the chance now to test them. And on the positive side, it was really nice to see it glowing that beautifully, the LED strip, with all kinds of different animations. Meow. On the other side though, it was still super unstable. Like you really can see it bending massively. It's not standing in any way perfectly vertical, and it really is a problem. And so by now I really came to the realization that, okay, with this U-shaped aluminum profile that's pretty thin, and with this very tiny LED connector, there's just no way that I will ever be able to make it super stable. So I had to change the aluminum profile. And turned out there actually is a pretty good aluminum profile that seems to be perfect for my use case. A V-shaped aluminum profile. Just by the form itself, it should be a lot more stable since there's just more surface area to give stability. And the other thing is, it's actually a hole that gives me the opportunity to integrate a stabilizer, a 3D printed stabilizer that can go as much as I wanted to into the aluminum profile. This way I should get a lot more stability out of this stand, and I finally should be able to have the LED strips connected and stable standing in a vertical position. Oh, and by the way, the LED strips in the background, those are these V-shaped aluminum profiles. And I gotta say, I really like the way they look and the way they diffuse the light. However, changing the aluminum profile also meant that I had to completely redesign, once again, the whole connector and stand and case for the LED strips and the microcontroller. But hey, let me show you how it looks like. So at the bottom you have the case for the microcontroller as well as the microphone, which are inside here. It's supposed to easily clip together, so it creates a strong bond. On the side you have holes for screws. This way you can easily just attach them to the wall in basically any position you like. These things here are the stands that you slide in if you want to have them just stand on the floor and have it in an upright position. When we come to the actual LED strip connector, you see it's basically two parts that are both connected with also a clipping system. And the one part here also integrates a stabilizer, which then integrates into the aluminum profile. This way, hopefully, the stability is going to be a lot better than previously. And even while the design is a lot slimmer in comparison to before of the connector, it should give it a lot more stability and allow it to easily have like 4 LED strips on top of each other. As you might have also noticed, the aluminum profile isn't the only thing that I've replaced here. The other thing is the microcontroller. The Raspberry Pi Zero was just really poor when it comes to the LED animation performance sometimes. Just when I did a lot of server requests for like accessing the Raspberry Pi Zero with the web interface to control the LED strip. Plus, the booting time was like pretty long, with a minute or so. And also it's actually much more expensive than other microcontrollers. So, introducing the ESP32 that I use now, again. However, this time I actually use it with C++, and with a new microphone as well that should make it also somewhat easy to make the ESP react to music. And it looks pretty cool and is also very tiny. But of course, changing the hardware that I use also created new problems. I actually had this really weird issue that when I had server requests on the ESP32, suddenly the LED animation wasn't slowing down, but it was like glitchy. Suddenly LEDs light up everywhere in different colors where they aren't supposed to be. And as it turns out, of course, I'm not the only one with this problem, but after my research that I did, the only thing I found was just replace one ESP32 with two ESP32s. One doing everything regarding the web server and the other one only doing the LED animations, which is what I did for now. However, as I just learned yesterday, there might actually be another better solution that still allows me to only use one ESP32 by using a level shifter and fixing some power issues basically, which I will do in the next few days, and hope it's gonna work then with only one ESP32. But as I mentioned earlier, the main issue that I had with the performance wasn't actually regarding the Raspberry Pi Zero, but using Python. And so I was finally switching to C++ and now also learning a completely new language, for the first time since quite a while actually. And while there are some parts of C++ that are written exactly the same like in Python, yoo-hoo, other things are just so dramatically different, just because the language is also in fact very different, that it makes writing it sometimes very challenging. One of the main software issues that I had was actually connecting the LED strips with each other, or connecting the front end with the LED strips. I tried to create a direct connection between your web browser and communicating directly with the LED strips, but that doesn't seem to work the way I wanted to, so I'm probably gonna go back now to connect to the web server first, and the web server then connecting to each individual LED strip for submitting mode changes and requesting information about the strips. Oh, and did I mention that I started to look into making the LED strips react to music using the new microphone that I got? Well, this is actually where mathematics comes in for the first time for me, and where things get a bit more complicated. I thankfully had a call with a friend and some other people who are experienced with making LEDs react to music, and I definitely learned a few more things, but there's still going to be plenty of work to do to actually make it work in my use case as well, since there is open source code, but I still need to figure out how to implement it into my software project. And well, that's everything that happened in December. To summarize it again, I was mostly working on the new 3D print design because I changed the aluminum profile, and I also changed the microcontroller to an ESP32 and therefore also had to rewrite the whole backend software and animation software. So let me give you a quick overview of what happens next in January. First of all, I'm gonna wait for the level shifters to arrive to then hopefully replace the current two ESP32 solution with using only one of them. Second, I will make sure that I can connect the LED strips with each other, so you actually get back the functionality of completely controlling the LED strips via the front end, like before on the Raspberry Pi Zero. Also, I will add over-the-air updates to the ESP32. This way I can update the firmware or the code of the ESP32 using Wi-Fi and don't have to constantly connect them via micro USB to my laptop. And the last two things I will work on this month is rebuilding the animations in C++ and hopefully also 3D printing the new designs that I just made for the case, for the connector, for the stand, and hope they will work well. I'm pretty confident, but I might need to make some smaller changes again for removing some unnecessary gaps in between. So yeah, overall quite a few huge changes to the project, but I'm pretty confident that this is the right way to do it, since previously it just didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. So well, that was December. Hope you have a great January and stay positive, stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye.